I would like to introduce Paulette Baker, who is our Artist Spotlight for today. And we can all learn about her.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, but mostly about just, some tools and fun things I like to do. And I'll show you a few paintings and tell you stories about them that I think are kind of interesting.
Lynn?
I grew up in Las Vegas. I wasn't born here, but since I was a little girl, and had a 40-year really stressful career in Thailand. So when I retired, I've always been a photographer, and I was going to open a photography business. I don't know what made me think I wanted to start a new business when I retired, right? Like, duh, but I was in that mode, do it. And then I retired and life just changed. I was completely transformed, and it took me about a year to relax, but I sold a lot of photography business. I closed down my garage studio and said, I'm not doing that. I think I had drawn 2 drawings in my whole life so far and painted with the kids when they were little. But Andy Marvick was the head of SUU in Cedar City and said, hey, come and audit. We have a watercolor class by this renowned artist, Yadon Gua, G-U-A. And Yadon taught this great class. So I went there 2 times a week. She introduced me to a group of artists who lived up there who painted plein air twice a week. So between all this painting, outdoors, indoors, assignments, and homework, it was like I dove in, right, head first into painting. And this was in 2018, I guess, is when it began. And that's when I began painting. So I entered my first show in Las Vegas in 2022 and got an award, 2nd place. Let's see, which one is it? Okay, it's this one. Zion Narrows. I'm very Mrs. Outdoors. I love national parks, and I'll hold it up high. So that was my first award, and it went on to receive a couple of other awards also. So kind of widely accepted, like, as a successful painting. Then, where's my bird? Then I entered this one, my favorite painting I've ever done. And guess what? It wasn't even accepted. Right? It's hanging on my wall at home. I love this painting. My husband does too. But so you never know, whoever the judge is, they might identify with your work, and your work might be fantastic. And it's just that they're not into it. It's okay. You do what you like, right? All right. Then, all right. So last year, I entered this in a contest, Cedar Breaks National Monument, which is run by the National Park Service. And it didn't win an award in the contest, but guess what? They chose it for the 2025 poster for the Wildlife Festival for Cedar Breaks. So see, it has commercial value where, hey, right? You never know. You just never know. So you just keep painting what you love. And then this one, I brought this because this won an award this year. This got Best of Show at this past show, our show. And so many people have said, oh, Paulette, that must have taken weeks and months. Like, it looks so detailed and hard. It's one of the easiest paintings I've ever done, right? It's all negative painting mostly, and all the white is just paper. So there isn't even that much painting on it, right? So you never know. So
you might mention what negative painting is.
Negative painting is where you paint what's not there. You paint between things. And then what's jumping out is what you didn't paint, which would be the snow in this case. All right, I brought a couple of others. I love to paint flowers, but I hardly ever do. And I'll leave these up here if you want to look. And then, oh, it's just a beach scene. I just thought I'd bring some variety. Oh, I'm sorry. I feel a little shy about showing my work, I guess. All right, and then to be more fun, I brought something that I've kind of gotten into lately. I really like to travel, usually, you know, short travels. California, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. And I always bring my paints, always. I've painted at the airport many times. I've painted on airplanes. I love to always paint. I paint almost every day, or if I'm not painting, I'm organizing paintings or organizing supplies or looking at photos trying to figure out what I'm going to paint or whatever. But I really love these watercolor pastels. And it's like a watercolor crayon. You can also get Blicks. There's 5 in this case, and you pick out which colors you want. Blicks, or not Blicks, Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. And I wrote all these things down, by the way, on a sheet up here. If you want to take a picture, then you know what supplies I'm talking about. I've got a few other things. Just ring a bell or something if I start taking too long. So these are so fun. So basically, there's a lot of different ways you can use them. You can use them on dry paper. And let's see, do I have an example here? All right, so right here, see that? How I did this on dry paper. It looks like nothing, right? You can hardly see it. And then when you add water, it just comes to life. It's so fun. And I'm going to pass these around. So it's called pastel, but it's actually a watercolor crayon, so it's acceptable as far as I know. It's a watercolor crayon.
So do you wet over it?
So on this side over here, I haven't added water all over here, except for this area right here. No water. Over here, I added some water. It's magic, right? So I'm going to leave these up here with some water and a brush, and some blank paper too. And if anybody, once we have time, wants to come and play, you can. So there's different ways to do it. You can make your marks and then later go in with the water and wet it, manipulate it, blend it, do whatever you want. Or you can dip the crayon into the water and touch it on the paper, dry paper or wet paper. There's just a lot, all kinds of different ways you could use it. And they're just super handy when you're traveling.
What's the difference between the Daniel Smith watercolor sticks?
The sticks are fatter.
They're what?
They're fat.
But otherwise, the quality is the same.
The quality is the same. There's some YouTube videos where they actually review all the different kinds of watercolor sticks / pastels / there's some other word they call them. I can't remember now.
I
But
know the watercolor sticks, and apparently each stick is a value of three little pallets, you know, the little pans.
yeah,
So
Really?
you get more for your buck. if you buy
Yeah.
the sticks. And
Wonderful.
there's an artist who's part of Daniel Smith's ambassadors
Mhm.
who paints only with those sticks. He's got a touch of them in his hand and he just paints with them.
yeah.
But I was trying to wondering how they differ with your pastels.
I think that the pastels, I actually prefer the pastels. I like it that they're more skinny, so you have a little bit more control. I do a little bit of, you know, where you get your brush wet and rub it on there. I find the surface is plenty big to twirl it around on there and then apply from that.
What brand is
There's some YouTube videos that compare different brands, and this particular brand, and it's on my list here, is the one that seems really the favorite.
Shania?
Okay. And I just did this myself so I could keep track of what colors where. Really bright, brilliant colors, just as liftable as a tube paint. You know, they're just very, very similar. The only difference I do notice is there's not granulation in any of these as far as I can tell. But if you want some texture, you can, you know, if you're painting or using them on textured paper like Arches Rough, for example, you're going to get some texture. And so you have to kind of play with it a little bit because sometimes you don't want texture. Where's that one I brought? I'm going to show you kind of soft and fluid and transparent looking. This was done with these. Like you can't see the crayon at all, but then I just messed around on this side with the same watercolor sticks, and you can really see the mark of the stick where it didn't dissolve.
So the sticks leave a mark.
They can. So anyway, so that's that. The other thing, just on a more technical level, is this little color wheel. I really love this particular color wheel. On the back, it has marks that define your triad, okay, or your split, complementary, or whatever color scheme. And I just love to use every single color in my palette, right? It's just so hard to limit yourself. So before I start painting, I try to look at this and figure out what is my main color and what is my color scheme going to look like. And it kind of keeps me from getting too crazy with colors. So I really like that. The other things I was going to mention, I wrote down on here my favorite, some favorite pigments and a favorite brush. But I want to mention a couple of websites. I don't know if you all are signed up for the American Watercolor Society newsletter. I think it's really helpful. The newsletter is monthly, or maybe 2 or 3 times a month. It seems like I've always got emails from them. And they also put on YouTube a whole like 30 to 60 minute demo every year, which their demos are just fantastic. And I think they still do, but they used to put their whole gallery of their whole show every year, so you can look at that. And when I'm looking at art online, I have a PC. I don't know about you, but I save screenshots. I put the screenshots in a folder, and then that folder becomes my screensaver on my PC. So I'm constantly looking at work that I love, that's inspiring, and I think that really helps. And I wrote down a couple of other websites, and an artist named Keen Wilson. He passed away, I think, 2018. But Keen Wilson's website is still being maintained by his family. And if you want to know anything about composition, color harmony, values, design, anything, his writing is so readable and relatable. And he painted in various mediums, not all watercolor, but his information is really helpful and readable and kind of condensed. It doesn't go on and on. And Keen Wilson, Keene Wilson, Fine Art. And who knows, at some point that website's going to come down. And it has just lists and lists of articles that he wrote. And that's it. I'm going to stop.
Hey, Paulette, what was the American Watercolor newsletter?
American Watercolor Society. Yeah. And if you go on their website, you can sign up for their newsletter. And then look on YouTube. I think it's called American Watercolor Evening. And that's where they have the long demo. Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right, this paper's up here. Yeah, go for it. Okay.
You know, your bird, that's beautiful. So, you did win it when you submitted it to one competition. Will you continue to submit it in other competitions?
No, you know, I'm really kind of sensitive about that because I love that bird and I don't want him to feel rejection.